Nationwide, we lose someone to a drug overdose every 6 seconds. For 2020, that added up to nearly 100,000 lives lost, with 3/4 due to the opioid epidemic. Locally, we are again seeing a rise in opioid-related deaths in Erie County, which peaked in 2016, and you can see we were decreasing. But now, over the past few years, we've seen this dramatic increase, certainly going in the wrong direction. And at the current rate, 2022 will hit a new record with more than 300 opioid-related deaths. Of course, everyone hopes that won't happen, and International Overdose Awareness Day this Wednesday is an opportunity to search for solutions. It is the world's largest annual campaign to find ways to prevent death from overdose. In Western New York, folks are invited to the Not One More event that will happen at Veterans Memorial Park in West Seneca. It will go from 4 until 7 Wednesday evening. Channel 2, by the way, is a proud media sponsor for the event. And we have 3 guests to help us here tonight as we have this important conversation. Brittany Deary is Clinical Director at Spectrum Health and Human Services. Emma Fabian is Assistant Vice President of Harm Reduction for Evergreen Health. And Patty Parks is a nurse, a blues singer who has been inducted into the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. And she is the mom of a young man who lost his life to overdose. It is really a pleasure to have all of you on. Thanks to all of you for coming here in studio and being here in person with us. And Patty, I want to start with you. You're going to be performing at this event on Wednesday. Obviously, this is very personal to you and your family. I wonder if you can share the impact of your loss of your son a few years ago and the mission that you're now on to educate others, because it's one thing to talk about numbers, but these are individuals, these are precious lives that we're losing. And, you know, you probably never imagined that you would be the face of a campaign like this.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to share my story, as difficult as it is. I was involved and have been involved with other programs that help support wellness as it relates to opioid disorders and chemical dependency, but I never thought that I would be one of those moms that would end up losing their child, especially during the pandemic. It was a horrific situation. And that being said, I wanted to move forward to make sure that I was part of a process that would educate the community and present some awareness of things that we can do in real time, and to promote the ongoing programs and the plans that we have for the future so that no one has to face the things that families have to face, especially, I can say from the bottom of my heart, it is devastating.
Brittany, before we get into the trends and what we're seeing here locally, I just want to ask you about this event that's going to be happening on Wednesday. I know it's family friendly, food trucks, Patty's band is going to perform, but it also serves a really important function, right? Part of this huge effort worldwide to shed light on what's happening with overdose deaths.
That is correct. We will actually also be providing Narcan training to anyone that would like to be trained, and we have a lot of resources that will be available at this event, including New York Hope, or Project Hope, I'm sorry, and it's going to be a really good event.
Emma, I mentioned how opioid-related deaths are again on the rise in Erie County. We had been seeing that drop, and it was interesting to look at the chart. Things were looking much better, and then now we're kind of going in the opposite direction. The local opiate task force said that as of last year's numbers, which are the most that they have, 87% of the deaths in Erie County involved fentanyl. We talk about it a lot, but what sticks out to you in terms of the trends that we're seeing and what the public should know as we mark this kind of moment to think about this big picture?
So we're lucky here in Erie County. Our opioid task force does a tremendous job, I think, of tracking data and trends and giving it back to the community of service providers. The important thing to know about the overdose crisis at this point in Erie County, in New York State, in much of our country, is that it's driven by fentanyl. Fentanyl is an extremely strong, synthetically made opioid that in the early 2010s began to be included in the illicit drug supplies of what people were using when they thought they were buying heroin. But now in 2022, fentanyl, again, this extremely strong synthetically made opioid, can be found in the supplies of all kinds of substances, including cocaine, methamphetamine, and of course the traditional heroin. So what that means is the likelihood of overdose for someone who uses any substance is increasing. and it makes harm reduction strategies, accurate information, and just being aware about available resources in the community very, very important right now.
Brittany, to circle back to you real quick on this, your organization, Spectrum Health, and Emma's organization, Evergreen, I understand have partnered up to help clients in recovery, medication-assisted treatment, counseling. Talk to me about the resources that we have available here locally.
We have quite a few resources available across the county and all of Western New York. There's multiple agencies that assist individuals who struggle with addiction, including Spectrum Health, which we see many individuals every day who struggle with substance use, and we are working with them to develop a person-centered approach in order to meet their needs. You have Horizon, you have Best Self, you have Evergreen, Endeavor. There's so many agencies within this area that want to help people no matter what it takes.
Patty, I'm sure that there are parents who are watching right now who are in your same shoes, or maybe parents whose children are right now struggling through addiction. What kind of words of wisdom can you share with them?
I would say, first of all, make sure that you surround yourself with positive people, the people that love you, and give yourself time, because it's a healing process, but try to be part of a community and that knows and understands the problem, and help support the community. And I invite everybody to be participating on Wednesday, because it brings some strength to you in supporting the community and our future.
Finally, Emma, I'll go to you. How are we doing big picture as a community in addressing this overdose crisis? I mean, I talked to Brittany a moment ago about all the services. There are so many, nonprofits out there, and we know this is at the fore for so many people. What are we doing well right now, and what do we need to be doing better at?
Well, unfortunately, what's become really clear over the past few years is that the conditions around COVID-19 have exacerbated the situation for people who are already struggling with substance use and mental health. Social isolation and the impact of social isolation has been really significant all across our community. Anxiety, depression are at an all-time high. And for folks whose coping mechanism is using substances, we really want to get the word out that help is available. We're also talking a lot these days about the social determinants of health. If you're someone who is struggling with substance use, if you're also unhoused and don't have basic needs met, like food and social support, it's going to be really difficult to limit or abstain from chaotic substance use. So what we want folks to remember is International Overdose Awareness Day is a time to commemorate the unfortunate loss that we've suffered over the past 10 years here in Erie County and in New York State in general. But it's also a time to remember that there are lots of people struggling, maybe more people than ever before struggling with mental health and substance use in our communities, and we've got to do everything that we can to take care of people unconditionally.
Our thanks to Brittany Deary, Emma Fabian, and Patty Parks. Really appreciate all three of you coming in and being part of this important conversation. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, we do want to remind everyone again that this Not One More event that we were talking about, it's Wednesday evening from 4 to 7 at Veterans Memorial Park in West Seneca, put on by Spectrum Health and Human Services, a lot of sponsors, a lot of different groups coming together to raise awareness about this epidemic. Patty will be performing. It was same place last year, right?
Yeah.
And heard just wonderful things. So again, that's Wednesday evening in West Seneca.